tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
Answer.
I do, but here's what's a little tricky. She doesn't answer the question around if the GOP is controlling the Senate, if she can't raise corporate taxes, where is she going to get the money from, to expand the child tax credit and do all the things she wants to do? And she says, we just have to do it. And that's great, and that's a campaign promise. But the issue is, if it means we're just going to borrow again, then what we're doing is we're just never addressing the deficit. And back in the days when you were a proud Republican, debts and deficits mattered.
As you saw from the intro, Kamala Harris had an interview with this MSNBC host who before claimed that Kamala Harris didn't need to make an interview. Then the same lady that said, oh, Kamala doesn't need to make an interview, gave her her first exclusive interview with her, and it yielded nothing but the very thing people and voters like me complain about. We want clarity, not platitudes. And this is the biggest problem with Kamala Harris. And I always say this, even if you don't agree with me, even if you're a Democrat listening to me right now, my main point is Kamala doesn't know how to speak to people who don't see it her way. She's not persuasive. All her arguments are just a bunch of platitudes, bunch of kissing your butt, bunch of I want to pretend I'm the best person here. But what's the substance? That's what I said. She's all flash, no substance. She's inauthentic. She doesn't actually understand the issues that she's running on. And this is a big problem in politics, especially what I call it out. All right, here's a quote from Thomas Sowell. Whether in politics or in media, words are increasingly used not to convey facts or even allegations of facts, but simply to arouse emotions. Undefined words are a big handicap in logic, but they're a big plus in politics, where the goal is not clarity, but victory. And the votes of gullible people count just as much as the votes of people who have common sense. Do I need to say it again? Profound. The votes of gullible people counts just as much as the votes of people who have common sense. And the goal of my channel is to make less gullible people, whether you agree with me or not, because you're going to have to be someone of some logic and sense to counteract some of the things I say on this channel. You can't be a gullible person and think you're going to win against me in the comment section. Oh, no, sir. Oh, no, ma'am. And this is the problem we have in our politics. And I want to show you an example of gullible people. You know where I'm going with this? I'm going to attack the Democrats' most loyal constituency. But before then, I want you to play this clip of Kamala Harris during her interview about the border bill. And this is an example of how gullible people fall for stuff, right? Because of the appearance. Oh, look, we're trying to do something. Look at us. We're doing something, but they don't understand it's a half-hearted measure, right? So first you're going to hear Kamala Harris talk about the bipartisan border bill. And then right after her clip, I'm going to show you the rebuttal from Brian Donald. So I'm making it look like they're debating. I digress. Let's take a look.
There are people there that are stressed, that feel that they're at capacity. Communities around the country that have legal immigration, many have said, we're at capacity. And many feel like the government has said to them, well, adapt, sit down, be quiet. This is how it is. What would a Harris administration do for those communities who've taken in many, many legal immigrants but are at capacity?
Well, first of all, we do have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed. And if we take a step back, months ago, some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress came together with others, proposed a border security bill that would have put 1,500 new border agents on the border to help those hardworking border agents who are there right now working around the clock, would have put more money into stemming the flow of fentanyl, which is killing Americans around our country and devastating communities, would have put more resources into our ability to prosecute transnational criminal organizations, which in my career I've prosecuted. Donald Trump got word of the bill, realized it was going to fix a problem he wanted to run on, and told him to kill the bill, don't put it up for a vote. He killed a bill that would have actually been a solution because he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And that's part of what needs to be addressed. And my pledge is that when elected president, if the American people will have me, I will bring that bill back and I will sign it into law. And we need a comprehensive plan that includes what we need to do to fortify not only our border, but deal with the fact that we also need to create pathways for people to earn citizenship.
We need to set the record straight about the Senate bill and actually H.R. 2. When the Senate bill was actually published, I remember I was at a dinner Sunday night when it came out, when the text came out. I read the text of the Senate bill. Many members in the House read the text of the Senate bill. Members contacted Speaker Johnson, and we were very clear. There is no way the Senate bill should get a vote in the House because it is a terrible piece of legislation that will not secure the southern border. House Republicans have passed border security measures, H.R. 2. We did it more than a year ago. Has Chuck Schumer brought it up for even debate or a vote in the Senate? No, he has not. Has the White House decided to reach out to the Speaker Johnson to debate and deliberate or negotiate or compromise on H.R. 2 and its elements to secure the southern border? No, they have not. They're in charge in the Senate and in the White House. They've done nothing except a bill that couldn't even make it out of the Senate. So I think it's important to set the record straight. Oh, also, by the way, House Republicans weren't going to vote for that bill, and that was before Donald Trump even made his view known on the Senate compromise bill. We were already against it when the bill text came out because it's a trash bill. Now, moving on.
So now you got both sides. You make up your decision. But if you hear the other side saying, hey, look, we were not going to vote on this regardless because many people don't know this. And this is my attempt to make people less gullible, the American voters less gullible. The Republican Party already passed a border bill. And if you already have a border bill that's already in the Senate, as a political party, you will advocate for your bill, not the one that the current administration is trying to drum up. And if you look at the discrepancies, I believe it was called the Secure the Border Act. They use the actual number bill, and that's hard for people to follow. Just give it the name. Just like people remember the American Rescue Plan. Just like people remember the Inflation Reduction Act. People are going to remember Secure the Border Act. Look it up, people. Secure the Border Act. And look at that, and look at the bipartisan border bill. And look at it and see the discrepancies. You should assume the Secure the Border Act is what the Republicans would 100% or at least 90% of the time vote for. If you look at the discrepancies, many things that is listed on the Secure the Border Act is very different from what is seen in the the bipartisan, the so-called bipartisan border deal. And what some of the concerns that Byron Donalds listed out, and the fact that they continue to try to blame Trump for this is how they get gullible people to vote for them. Oh, Trump got in the way. He wanted to run on the issue. No, Trump and many Republicans believe that the bipartisan border deal would not fix the very issues that Americans are complaining about. Remember, majority of Americans, I believe at 54%, want mass deportation. The Secure the Border Act, I believe, provides that. The bipartisan border bill caused many Republicans to compromise because they wanted to get something passed. Some of them that voted for the bill. Majority of the Republicans are like, nah, this ain't going to work. And it shows how politicized our government has become because the DOJ is searching for anti-Haitian incidents to bolster Kamala's claims. Emails show this is a problem, right? She says she's going to fix the border, but it seems like not. I mentioned this in a previous video, but she refused to answer or give a stance about flying migrants over over airplane. The migrant flight parole program has allowed nearly 530,000 migrants into the U.S. She hasn't talked about that. And she acknowledges that the immigration system is not fixed. But like I stated in other videos, it happened under your watch. So you haven't apologized. You haven't acknowledged that you contributed to the problem and how you're going to fix it forward. No, you give us a bunch of word salad. It goes back to the quote that you heard from Thomas Sowell. And it's just so baffling to me that many people cannot make that connection yet, right? Here's a clip I want to show you guys, right? This is a city council in Chicago, a place. Remember, this district votes overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. Look at how the people are angry over what's going on in the city council budget about them being at $982 million shortfall because of the mayor's aid to illegal migrants. Let's take a look.
Miss Dow, Chairman Dow, enough is enough. illegals. You gonna listen to these illegals?
We sat in here for the past 9 months. We've sat in here for the past 9 months watching y'all pass resolution after resolution up to $1 billion in debt. The black community is decimated.
But y'all voted for him, though. That's what he's going to tell y'all. But you voted for it, though. You didn't hear the language coming in? You didn't hear what Joe Biden was saying that, come, we want you to come here. It's just more than what y'all can handle. Show me the incentives, and I'll show you the outcome. If you put out an incentive structure where you make it easier for people to cross over the border, and then they get temporary paroles or temporary protection status, right? AKA creating a loophole to make them seem legal, then you put them in these communities like Chicago, Boston, New York, and you see the same consistent effect everywhere these migrants have been placed. They get welfare benefits because they can't work yet. I don't believe they have the right to work yet. You hear Kamala Harris wanting to give them amnesty, as you saw from one of the clips I showed you. But you want to vote for the same party. You want to vote for someone that was a part of that administration that's giving your people, right? This is why I say black Democrats, y'all fake. Black Democrats don't want to acknowledge the fact that, you're just pro-Democrat. You're not pro-black. You disguise pro-blackness as being pro-Democrat. This is why you call people like me, who is conservative, coons, sellouts. Because you believe the black people allegiance belong to the Democratic Party, and there's no reason to ever, ever, ever deviate from the Democratic Party. Sounds like I'm hearing a lot of reasons for black people to deviate from the Democratic Party. Because what Donald Trump warned y'all, black people, what do you have to lose? Your vote, your power, your status as a political group. Because illegal immigrants, the Chicago mayor, someone y'all voted in, y'all voted him in. And he's doing more for the illegals than he did for people who voted him and put him in power. Make it make sense. But I'm the coon for voting for Donald Trump. I'm the coon for wanting Donald Trump to win. Last time I checked, Donald Trump says he put Americans first. That means black Americans as well. Last time I checked, Donald Trump tried to warn you how they're taking black jobs, how they're taking resources from the black community, because there's not enough to go around. Resources are finite. That's the reality of life. This is the practicality I think is missing in the black community. That you have to realize that there's limited resources. And you can't be charitable with limited resources. That's like me expecting a poor person to donate large sums of money to charity. You don't have the capacity to do that. Trump is warning you, hey, look, our government don't have the capacity to do that. See, Republicans are consistent. We can't give money to nobody for a long period of time. Democrats say we can give money to everybody, but where the money coming from? Where's the money going to come from? You saw it in the intro. She couldn't even answer that. What happened if the other side disagrees with you? What is your plan to move forward from that? What are some of the options you'll go, and what kind of leverage will you use to get the outcomes that you're looking for? She couldn't answer your question. But then when someone says she's a DEI hire, hey, people are only voting for Kamala Harris because she pretends to be a black woman. Y'all want to get mad. This is the symbolism that I'm tired of seeing from the black community. The black community incentivizes politicians to kiss their butt. Oh, I see you. You vote for that. I graduated from an HBCU. You vote for that. But nothing's result driven. Everything's intentions. Oh, I tried, but the Republicans got in the way, and then you still vote for them. Something has to change, and change don't start until you change. I'm just being honest. They say change always starts with you. If you want to change the world, you first must what? Change yourself. If you want to change your country, you must what? First change your vote. Y'all complaining about how the Democratic Party is abusing the black vote. But you don't give them any punishment. You don't punish them. Y'all in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, but the minute someone says, hey, you can be in another relationship. No, it's both sides. Oh, everyone's abusive? Okay. Then you stay there. You finding reasons to justify your actions. All because you were taught and conditioned by the mainstream media to hate a man that they cover 89% of the time negative. If all you hear about someone is bad things, how do you know you actually know the full story? How do you actually know you know the truth about that person? is craziness. But people don't know this stuff, and I don't fault them. I mean, there's no real reason, there's no real incentive to learn about politics, because every day people are dealing with a day-to-day life. They don't have time to watch politics, listen to politics, tune in politics. But they're going to vote, though. And this is the gullible people that politicians take advantage of. You hear complaining about what a Democrat is doing when Republicans been telling you what the Democrats were going to do even before you put Brandon Johnson into office, even before Joe Biden got into office. Donald Trump warned you about this stuff, but you didn't want to listen to him because media said he was a bad man. Okay. You didn't look with your own eyes. You didn't believe your own lying eyes. You believed the lying media. But let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear the sentiment. Does this sound like a satisfied people?
We can appreciate if we can speak. No. We ain't did nothing. We ain't did nothing.
$1 billion in debt.
No. Because we want to be here. They don't get to kick us out. They don't get to engineer a way to get us out of here. No. Nah. Police. Go get police. No. Miss Lady, look. You can let us speak. She can let us speak. You can let us speak.
You better let us speak. You better let us speak.
Look, so we come in today. We came here today.
This doesn't do anything. Right? We understand, like, this one, I don't understand about a lot of people who are dissatisfied with the Democratic Party. What y'all gonna do when November show up? Sit down, not let your voices be heard? That don't sound like revenge. So when someone do something nefarious to you, when someone does something bad to you, you're just gonna sit down and let them do it? Or you're gonna find a way to give them some consequences for messing with you. And the consequence is, hey, okay, let's make sure these Republicans win. And make sure they know we voted for them. Just to show the Democrats, hey, this is what happens when you take advantage of us. This is what happens when you abuse us, when you take us for granted. But if you just sit in the couch, then you just make yourself obsolete. Oh, then like, this is my argument to the black community who wants to just sit on the couch. You make yourself obsolete, because then Democrats will realize they can't rely on you anymore. Then you lose your purpose, because the only reason Democrats can pander to black folks is because they're one of the most loyal constituencies they have in their party. And the minute that is fractured, they're going to try to find a way, okay, let's try to legitimize a lot of these illegal immigrants so we can be done relying on them, because we can't rely on them anymore. And then the Republican Party are going to be like, oh, we won an election without them, without their participation. So there's no incentive for us to reach out to them. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's like the black community and black politics. It's like we don't know how to make deals anymore. Ice Cube tried to do it. I may not have agreed with what he was putting on, but he was trying to make deals. Hey, here's what I want. Here's what I want. And obviously you're going to compromise on some things. It's not all or nothing. And that's the problem that I see a lot in black politics, is this all or nothing mentality. Either we get reparations or no vote. Okay, then stay obsolete then. Because the worst thing you could do is not participate. Because then that hurts your leverage for next time. People are going to be like, oh, I can't rely on these people. I can't rely on them. They don't, if you don't give them this, they won't take it. And there's no way we're doing that, so let's ignore them. This is the problem. This is the stranglehold that the Democrats have on the black vote. Because they know black votes are like that. So that's why they play platitudes to them. They give the appearance of, oh, we're going to pass reparations, so they get your vote. But best believe they're looking for a way to replace y'all. And illegal immigrants are the best way for them to do that. Right? So I want to just, end off the video with this word salad. Hopefully it's not a repeat clip. If it is, I'll just edit it out. But I just want to play a 1 minute of more of this word salad that Kamala Harris is spewing, and then I'll end off the video.
Prices are still high.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You said you want to take this on by going after those who engage in price gouging.
Yeah.
But as somebody who supports free markets, who's a capitalist, how do you go after price gouging without implementing price controls? Because once we get in this zone, people start to get worried and they say, I don't know what she stands for.
So just to be very frank, I am never going to apologize for going after companies and corporations that take advantage of the desperation of the American people. And as Attorney General, I saw this happen. in the midst of an emergency, whether it be an extreme weather event or even the pandemic, we saw it.
This is my problem with a lot of Democrats. They assume that they have no culpability in this, right? There's a guy, Milton Friedman, is an economist that I heavily respect. He's the mentor of Thomas Sowell. If you guys don't know, Thomas Sowell is like one of my favorite political thinkers on subjects of economy, history, politics. And one thing that he always states is that inflation comes from the government, right? So if government spending, printing money, increasing the money supply, which lowers the buying power of existing dollars, aka inflation, and companies have to spend more money to buy the same products or to provide the same services to the customer, don't they have to account for that increase in their pricing as well so they can stay profitable? Because the worst thing you can do, this is why price controls don't work. If it costs me $50 to buy something and I want to charge $80 to make it worth my while to continue buying this product and then use it to service you, so then I can get the healthy $30 profit so I can continue my business, and I get price control to only being able to charge $60, I lost 20% of profits. I can do less investment in myself. I can do less investment in research and development. I could do less investment in my workforce, and I'll have to find a way to cut costs. And if I still can't maintain my current output, or I can't maintain profitability because I've been artificially held down by price controls, then I have to close my business and you lose access to that service completely. This is why price control is a bad idea. This is what I'm talking about. Americans, America voters, we have to make ourselves less gullible. And the reason I am incentivized as a conservative to make people less gullible is I believe that thinking people will be more persuasive to my arguments if they are actually knowledgeable of the outcomes of many of the policies that the Democrats and Republicans push out. Because the reason why Republicans are shown as do nothing is Republicans are more, I'll say, grounded in the realities of what the government can and can't do than the Democrats. The Democrats make empty promises knowing that and attempt to use the government because they'll use that as a justification to increase regulation, aka control over people's lives, because this is their real motive there. And making emotional, oh yeah, we can do this. Government can do this. Government can build affordable housing, but you can't build internet in rural America. But you got $42 billion to spend for it, but you haven't built anything. You're responsible for building 10 charging stations for electric cars, and you was only able to make 10, but you got billions of dollars for it. Those are some of the most expensive electric chargers for cars ever. Because the government, and this is the reality many conservatives try to highlight to the American people, is that the reality is the government is not effective of actually creating the outcomes that it claims it wants. The worst thing the government can tell you is I'm here to help. Because most of the time when they try to help, they create negative incentives that create bad outcomes because they're not good at resource allocation. This is why socialist countries are less innovative than capitalist countries. This is why socialist countries are less productive than capitalist countries. Regardless, is because of all the time off they give their workforce, regardless of their economy size being smaller. It's the fact that there's no incentive to be productive in many of these socialist type countries, or the countries that are more socialist than capitalist. While capitalist countries are more productive, higher income usually, higher GDP, and there's more innovation happening there because there's more of an incentive to be productive in capitalist societies. And this is what I'm trying to impart to the American people. And this is my understanding of how economics works, how governmental systems create or incentivize certain outcomes. Because like I said, the government doesn't do anything, in my view. The government is merely the referee. And everyone knows, depending on what calls the referee make, he can influence the game. And that is what the government is in my summary. But I digress. Let's wrap up the video. I don't want to take this long. I don't want to take too long on this.
Where those few companies, not the majority, not most, but those few companies that would take advantage of the desperation of people and jack up prices. Yeah, I'm going to go after them. Yes, I'm going to go after them. And that is part of a much more comprehensive plan on what we can do to bring down the cost of living, including housing, including the everyday needs of the.
She's telling you the desirabilities of a policy, but not the feasibility of the policy. And if you saw my videos, previous videos I have on this channel, I have my trailer video. My channel trailer video is how I became conservative. And this is one of the main things that made me a conservative: results versus intentions. The intentions of the policies, hey, I'm gonna make affordable housing, whatever. But the results is you're gonna have all this money for affordable housing, and the government won't be able to effectively build it because of all the bureaucracies, all the red tape, right? I already told you about the internet. She was supposed to make rural internet $42 billion. And she still hasn't started working on that yet. Why? Because of all the regulatory stuff, all the bureaucracy crap, all the red tape that it has to go through just to get a project approved. But look, we're spending $42 billion on this initiative. That's the intention. But what's the results? 3 years of doing nothing. We got $42 billion in budget for something, and it still hasn't been even worked on yet. But you want me to trust the government doing stuff for me. Okay. And this is the reality. This is why we call her word salad Kamala. Word salad Harris. Because like Dharma Soul stated in the beginning of the quote that I stated in the beginning of this video, it seems like for undefined words, do little for logic, but do a lot for politics. And as an American voter, I no longer want to incentivize undefined words. I want to incentivize logic, solutions, practicality, feasibility, not desirability. Because this is how politicians get us. They get us the desirables. But what's the feasibility? I think that's what we need to focus on as American voters. But hey, I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd like to hear your guys' angles, your guys' takes on this subject. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching and the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.